When recording guitar, we often find ourselves wanting the simplest possible way to do that, because when we are playing guitar, we're used to just plugging straight into a guitar amp and figuring out our sound and going. And when sometimes you are faced with recording guitar on a computer, you can find yourself twiddling knobs and playing with settings and all these sort of things, and it becomes very frustrating. Blackstar have discovered this to be a problem with many guitarists and have just released the Polar 2. The Polar 2 is a guitar-based interface. Now, it's not exclusive to guitars, but it has a lot of guitar-friendly features, including a FET input. Now, a FET input is a field effect transistor, and I'm not going to go into the full boring electronics, mostly because I don't really know what it means, but if you want to know about it, you can look it up. But it enables the feeling of the input of this interface to be much more like a guitar amp, which of course gives us the ability to make it sound like we are playing a guitar amp and not playing a computer simulation. With the Polar 2, Blackstar also give you access to their amazing St. James plugin. Now, we on this channel have talked about the St. James amp, the real thing, quite a bit, and we have said how much we like it. They have made a plug-in version of the St. James, which also sounds incredibly good. And I'm a big fan of that plugin, and I've actually used it quite a lot myself. The Polar enables us to get that plug-in with this unit. We can also see that the Polar is a very small and compact unit. It is powered by USB-C, meaning that you can power this directly off your laptop or your iPad or anything like that. It has also a DC 5-volt input, so you can charge it with an iPhone or a phone charger. It has a headphone output, it has an input control, it has gain controls, all of the things you expect to see on an interface. But then it has this very simple switch at the top here, which is called the enhance switch. Now, going back to simplicity, sometimes all I want to do is I want to make my sound more better. And I want a switch that is simply my more better switch. And that enhance switch, as we will hear in a sec, is pretty much just a more better switch. So you turn it on, and when we are using an instrument input like a guitar, it gives that feeling of the guitar amp by increasing the brightness and a little bit of the reaction time, that you don't have that same kind of digital feeling when you're playing with a interface. Whilst there are other interfaces out there now that have similar switches that just simply make your sound better, the great thing about the Polar switch is that it is the only interface on the market currently to actually use a FET input, which does give us a lot more of that guitar feeling that we are used to. The other advantage of this is that that same switch works to add a Neve style or a British style preamp on your microphone inputs as well. And we'll hear in a sec that this actually does make quite a notable difference to the sound of the microphone. And it's one of those things that sometimes when we are trying to record, especially at home, record demos, we don't actually have the time or the space or the separation of our environment to be able to really make minuscule differences about, oh, is this better, is that better? We actually just want the switch. Polar does that really well. Let's have a listen to a couple of examples, and I'm going to do two things here for you today. First of all, I'm going to show you a video that I did recently where I recorded a guitar amp with two mics, with an SM57 and a Royal 121, and I did it with both the enhance off and the enhance on. And secondly, we are going to have a listen to the St. James plugin, and I'm going to use this Polar interface and flip between the enhance on and off switch. And you'll hear the big difference that this makes with absolutely zero post-processing at all. So let's check out the Polar 2 through the St. James plugin to begin. Let's have a look at the St. James plugin, which sounds really great. I have got just the default setting has come up here. It's come up with some delay and some reverb in stereo, which always sounds good. And I'm just playing a telly through it. Let's have a listen. Now I have got the input of this, of the guitar down the bottom, which of course is a little bit more like a guitar amp would be. The great thing about this, interface is that you have this non-clip input section, which is really cool. So what it means is that you can drive the input section just like you would drive an amp, but it doesn't get that horrible digital distortion. Of course, distortion as we know it is just clipping. But when we are digitally clipping, it sounds horrible. The great thing about this input section is that it doesn't digitally clip, meaning we can drive and get these sort of sounds. As I push. So that's kind of at really extreme levels, and in a lot of other interfaces that would be digitally clipping and begin to sound horrible. But through this interface, that actually sounds like a guitar amp, just with a boost in front of it. Let's go back down to the bottom and get our clean sound back. And let's have a listen to the enhance switch. So very simply, that is the enhance off, and without doing anything other than flicking this enhance switch, let's have a listen. So off, on. Now, subtle difference, but a feel difference that may or may not come across in the video. I hope that the audible difference is there, but the feel difference is very real. So off again. Feels a little bit flat. And I boost that. Really makes it feel and sound like a real guitar amp, which is of course what we want. You can hear that difference just with the flick of the switch. Now when we're trying to make demos and try to capitalize on creativity, we want fast moving ability to record and make it sound good as quick as possible. That's where this is really advantageous. You can be remote, you can be anywhere you like because you can power this off your laptop. I don't need extra wall warts. I've got this enhanced switch and I just flick it to make it more better, and that's what we want to do, is make things more better all the time. Let's have a very quick look whilst we're here at the St. James plugin, because the St. James plugin does come with the Polar interface. We've got the EL34 and the 6L6 version of the amp. It comes with pre-effects. So let's have a listen to some of these as we go through. So I've got a compressor. Sounds great. I have this drive section that has the ability to flick between a full range overdrive and a TS style overdrive. It's on the TS at the moment. Which sounds great. I have a chorus and a phaser for all my 80s sounds, and I think they all sound really great. We've got, of course, got the amp, and it just looks nice. I'm not going to lie. The GU, the graphical user interface, is actually really nice looking. So we've got the EL34 and the 6L6 version of the amp there, which gives us the subtle differences between the two amps. The 6L6 having a little bit more gain and a little bit more of that kind of modern, clean sound, as opposed to the slightly vintage sounding EL34 version. You then also have Blackstar's Cab Rig software that enables you to choose lots of different mic placement, mic and speaker settings, and you have the option to record 2 different cabs for the left and the right. So I've currently got a 1x12 on the right hand side and a 2x12 on the left hand side, which adds to the versatility of this unit. You've then got a post effects section, which includes flanger and trem and a harmonic and standard trem as well. So I'm on the harmonic setting here. sounds really nice. And of course, delay and reverb as well. Now the good thing is you've got a reverb pedal, so you've got a hall and a plate reverb in there, and you have the amp's spring reverb built into the software as well. So you've got a whole lot of reverb options. But again, we are trying to make this as quick and easy to get great sounds as possible. And Blackstar have done a really great job of enabling that on the unit itself and enabling that ability to get great tones and really, really high quality versions of effects in the plugin as well. So kudos to Blackstar. Do yourself a favor and go and check out the Polar 2 interface and the St. James plugin, and you will see what a difference this little enhance switch makes to the sound that you get by plugging directly into a computer. It no longer feels as digital, and it now sounds full and round and like a guitar amp. This unit is perfect for somebody who is needing a very basic but full-featured interface that enables them to get a great sound really quickly in any location. We all know that sometimes we are struck by inspiration in all sorts of strange places, and you may not have access to full power or anything. The Polar 2 is perfect for someone who needs a quick interface that sounds great. Blackstar interface is available right now. Head to blackstar.com for more information, and as always, thank you for watching Noise Gate. See you next time.